Okay, welcome back. Gautam Shah also joining us now this morning. Gautam, good to have you with us. Now we're seeing a Nifty move back higher, of course, on the back of some positive news around the world on the vaccine. But it's the flavor of what we're seeing as well. It's once again the defensives that are coming to the fore. How are you reading into the current mood when it comes to the market and the direction you see us taking from here?
Well, markets have a trajectory of their own because the moment you try to combine what's happening in the economy and you try to map the markets, it's going to be a different ballgame altogether. Having said that, I think we've had a phenomenal run-up from the March lows. We are up more than 40%. And I think at levels of 10,600 a couple of weeks back, you had an indication that it was the best attempt for the markets to end the pullback rally and start a downtrend. But support levels never broke. In fact, in the last 6 weeks, every time the Nifty has got close to support levels, it has found buying interest. So that tells you that the market is looking into the future and trying to discount some positives that we don't have right now. And I think we have to respect the price action. So from a charts perspective, after yesterday's fall, the kind of comeback that we have today, it just tells you that the market is finding a lot of buying interest at lower levels. And for a change, the financials have taken a backseat, and many other pockets in the market, whether it's Reliance, whether it's IT, metals, autos, a lot of them are contributing to the market rally. So I think there is some more juice left in this particular move. We see the Nifty hitting the level of 11,000, 11,050. And around those levels, we will have to review whether there is more upside or not. But for now, I think the opportunity is still on the long side. Until the Nifty trades at levels beyond 10,550, we remain bullish. And I think our biggest opportunities is on the mid caps and the small caps, where I think there is still a lot more upside to play for.
Okay, so still plenty of upside there. That's good to hear. Gautam, how would you strategize then? Would it be primarily with the basket of names that continue to be prominent, financials, a smattering of consumption? How would you, break up the ideal portfolio right now?
Well, I think financials are an avoid. If you look at what has happened in the last 1 week, Bank Nifty has actually taken a back seat. We do a lot of relative strength studies. So Bank Nifty over the Nifty, the ratio chart that we track is downward sloping. And I don't think banks are going to make a major comeback anytime in the near term. I think at best they will stay in a large range, and therefore the opportunity does not lie in the banks. But outside of that, I think the pharma space, we've been very bullish for the last few months now. We are looking at a target of about 10,700 and eventually 12,000 on the pharma index. So a lot of popular pharma stocks are setting up for a fresh breakout, which I think could happen over the next few sessions. Metals, I think, has completed a 3-year market and is now setting up for a very large recovery. And the manner in which some metal stocks have shown relative strength, Nifty has gone through small corrections, but metals in those corrections have been very steady. And now as the markets are coming back, I think metal stocks, are looking good for a 20-25% up move, the top names from current levels. And Reliance and Bharti, I think, have been favorites all along. So there, we don't see signs of topping out. Apart from this, technology, IT, I think 16,500 is where the index is. And I think mid-cap IT is one pocket that we really like from a medium-term perspective. So great opportunities there as well.
All right, Gautam, that's the view coming in terms of some of the pockets that you would be looking at. But let's talk about the mid-cap index as well. You're talking about high chances of a rebound. So within that pocket, if one had to be fairly stock-specific, where is it that you would take your chances?
Well, what we've noticed is that a lot of laggards have gradually made a comeback. Stocks that were well destructors for a couple of years, have doubled or tripled in value in the last 3 months. I think this will continue because the price destruction in the last 3 years was so large that the scope for recovery is equally large. And as we speak, the mid-cap index is close to that level of 15,400. Once this level were to get surpassed, I think we could see another 5 to 7% upside on the mid-cap index. And there are various pockets in the market. The agri theme looks excellent, the mid-cap IT, some of the power stocks, some of the mid-cap capital goods stocks, some of the auto ancillary stocks, sugar names, fertilizer names, all of them have excellent setups. So I think this is a good time to just ignore the Nifty, ignore the Bank Nifty, because that's always playing on our minds. But if you ignore those names and trade this market or invest into the market, it's going to be far more comfortable. And I think the staying stock specific theme is going to carry on for the rest of this year. And I don't think the Nifty is going to give you great upside from here, but the broader markets will do that.
So I'm going to hold you to it then. Staying stock specific, you spoke of agri, power, fertilizers, a lot of those themes. Would you like to delve into names of stocks as well within these spaces that you find interesting?
Not names, Avan. I think, because different stocks have different setups and different levels. But broadly as a theme, the top 2 or 3 names, I like to stay with the leaders. So the top 2 or 3 names in all of the sectors that I mentioned, look excellent from a medium-term perspective.
Sure. Gautam, just on the point that you were making about Reliance and Bharti, and I mean, there is no taking away from the fact that the reason for this 10,800 print on the Nifty as of early part of trade yesterday, maximum contribution has been from Reliance. While you do believe that, the stock is not looking toppish, do you think it could be headed in for some sort of consolidation in the near term at least, wherein people can perhaps look at buying into, or do you think it's going to be a one-way street up for Reliance, especially given that you've got the 43rd AGM as well lined up today?
Well, if you're going to have a news on a deal every week, you can't expect the stock to go through consolidation. I think this rally has become very narrow. It has been led by about 5 or 7 stocks. And I think where Reliance is where Apple in the US was a couple of years back. So it's just leading from the front. This will continue. There are a lot more people who are wanting to commit into this stock. And let's not forget, the market in general was very overweight on financials in the last 5 years, because that's the segment that led the market. But I do believe that if the markets have to go up substantially from here, there are other pockets which are going to lead it. And I think Reliance, somewhere around the 2040 mark, there could be some resistance, maybe some consolidation kicks in there, post the AGM today. But broadly, if you have to really look at it from a medium-term perspective, I don't want to fight this trend. And, you don't want to get out cheaply because there is still a lot of money to be made there. Bharti, on the other hand, is still at the nascent stage of a major bull market. I see a possible 20-25% rally from current levels. So with a downside of about 5%, I think the bigger opportunity lies in Bharti from these levels. So telecom and oil and gas broadly as 2 segments we like for the medium term.
The other interesting pocket right now, Gautam, is the entire PSU pack. I mean, starting off from a BHEL to a BEL, BEML, what have you, this entire cluster is moving up very smartly. There is buzz that perhaps Deepam may be coming out with a strategic plan when it comes to disinvestment and privatization as well. But to your mind, is there still trading opportunity here in any of these names?
I think for sure there is an investing opportunity. The reason I say this is because PSU as a theme is coming back after 2 decades. If you really map the PSU index over the Nifty, again, look at the relative strength ratio chart, you will notice that it has rebounded from a 20-year support. Now, when such reversals happen, they don't end in a few weeks or in a few months. So I want to believe that this trend is going to continue over the next 6 to 12 months. But that does not mean that you go ahead and buy anything and everything in PSU, because I think there are still a lot of wealth destructors out there. But I think if you carefully pick some of the names, I think OMCs we love. I think OMCs, after being in a bear market for 2 years, are making a good comeback. Some of the capital goods PSU names we like. Some of the power PSU names we like. So these are the 3 pockets, within the PSU space that we are recommending right now. Everything else would be an avoid.
Gautam, when it comes to the fundamentals of autos, it looks quite abysmal basis the kind of CM data we've seen. How are you reading into, stock-specific moves for the auto companies? Where is it that you see opportunity? Would it be the rural place, 2-wheelers, 4-wheelers?
Well, I'm not too excited about auto at this point of time because I think the run-up has been very large. From the lows, I think the auto index is up about 40%, if I'm not wrong. And at these levels, given the fact that we like to use a lot of risk-reward based metrics, I don't see major opportunities in the auto space, honestly, apart from a couple of names like maybe a Tata Motors or in Ashok Leyland. But I think the bigger opportunity right now is metals, because let's not forget a couple of months back, auto and metals were pretty much in the same basket. They went through a 2-year bear market. They reached the kind of levels that were unimaginable for a lot of people who were looking at fundamentals. But I think the metals bear cycle has definitely come to an end, and you could see a large bull cycle. And if the metals bull cycle were to start at these levels, which I think is happening, I think the recovery can be very large, because when they get into a trend, they move really, really well. And some of the top stocks like Tata Steel, JSPL, JSW Steel, Vedanta, Hindalco have all done very well and are seeing very nice moves with consolidation patches in between. So I think the bigger opportunity is metals. The market in general is underweight on this space, but I think going forward things will change, and the charts are suggesting that.
Okay, sticking your neck out there, expecting some fervor within the metals basket, a strong up move with patches of consolidation. Gautam, always a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks much for sharing with us your outlook on the markets. A quick